What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I'm actually joined by a guest today, and we're going to be talking about Football Manager 2026. You're probably knowing who the guest is. It's Stu Holden. He's a former professional footballer. And you're also probably wondering how the hell he got here on this video with us talking about Football Manager. So, Stu, you want to help me with that? Because I don't even know how we got together on this.
Man, I was born in Scotland, so I actually grew up with a love for the game, and then I went on to be a professional soccer player. I played in the World Cup. I'm a broadcaster now on TV, but not many people know about me, Nick. My love for the game actually started with Football Manager way back when I was a kid. I was playing all the time. I used to know every single player. I was managing teams in different countries. So I started to learn about all these like diamond in the rough type players, and it made me fall in love with the game, and not just the playing of the game, but if you played Football Manager, you know what it's all about. You get to manage the tactics and the sponsorships and like everything that goes along with actually being not just a coach. So that's where like truly I ended up loving the game. And now the exciting thing for me is I actually get to pass that down to my kid and I get to do it with him. I'm like a proud owner of a team, and now he's the manager.
Yeah, his kid's getting the extra training that we wish we had when we were younger. And I was talking to Stu as well before we even started filming this that we both have been playing FM a long time ago. So we've been around for a while. I was telling him like I was playing in middle school and then I took a big break and I kind of came back to it. And you guys know with us on this channel, we do a lot of different games all around football. And with FIFA, it's such a similar thing. Like I think a big joy, as he mentioned about what we both like in FM, is kind of what they have on FIFA, where you have these evolutions, right? So like you can evolve a player that's like 59 rated and make them a lot better with better skills and stats. And that for me is just one of the coolest parts about Football Manager, like that crossover with FIFA, just being that, oh my God, you can scout these wonder kids and you got these databases online that will change every year with the update and the new teams and the new players with you even look like, I mean, Lamine Yamal is now a superstar, right? But if you go back and you looked a couple FMs ago, that's your example. And you have all these databases and websites online that cover Football Manager, the updates, the 2024 and now the 2026 that will essentially give you the best wonder kids to scout and try to get and negotiate with and bring into your squad in the hopes of being a Lamine Yamal in that quick trajectory of like, literally a year and a half, 2 years, a 16, 17, 18-year-old becoming just a superstar on the game. So that's always for me like one of the cooler parts as well. Like you had mentioned, I think that's a real joy of feeling like, I don't think you have any managerial experience yet, right?
I don't, but what I can tell you is I'm a part owner of a La Liga team, Real Mallorca, and I've been actually coming up on 10 years in ownership. So I really knew nothing about the actual business side of the game outside of my experience as a player, but then also, again, like when I was a kid. And I will say there are a striking number of similarities and actual almost real life similarities between both what you experience in the game and having to scout and work within a budget and try to coach players up and find the right coach and find the right philosophy. You'd be amazed at the amount that you actually end up having to handle in the game that actually translates to real life experiences that we have on a day-to-day basis with Mallorca. And I think that's one of the cool things for me is how they were actually able to truly mirror that from that experience in real life to then into a game. And people's first experience is like, well, I'm not actually like playing the game. Like the game's a simulation of everything that you create. And that's much like ownership. Like we put all the right pieces in place to have success. But then once that 90 minutes starts, I have no control over the game or over the ball anymore like I did when I was a player. So I'm just sitting up there nervously, and you're also just banking on the fact that like hoping you've put the right plan in place, the right people in place, the coach that you have hired then puts the right tactics within the game, and then hopefully things go well. So to this point, we're doing pretty well, but it is one of the things I love about the game. And I think people underestimate when you actually start playing. A lot of that is mirroring what actually goes on the day-to-day basis in a professional club.
Yeah, and the thing about Football Manager, guys, like you learn so much as you play. I remember when I did my first, let's just say like recent few years, I did a save on FM24 with Manchester United, who has not been, this season is a different story compared to the last couple of seasons so far, but they had not been having the best success. So obviously there's a lot of Manchester United fans out there. And that was like my first take on in FM24. It was really my first return to Football Manager. And somehow I won the Premier League by 10 points with them. And, we got into the Champions League final. We did get smacked by the kings of that, which was Real Madrid. But man, it was so much fun to the point where the game to me will always humble you, where you will try to emulate something you did with one team with another team, and it just doesn't go well. I remember I got all this, I don't want to say egotisticalness, but let's just say overconfidence. Decided to go take Heidenheim. Who, funny story, I'll tell you this, Stu. There's a guy he did play in Heidenheim. I think he's on like Nuremberg, or he transferred to another team in the second or third division. And his name was Florian Pick. So my name is Nick, and they call me Pick a lot. Because I don't even know why these guys call me Pick. They just call me Pick. So they said, okay, you got to go manage this team. You got to go, they were a promotion team, I think, in the Bundesliga last year. I got smoked. I got killed. I tried to do what I did at Manchester United. I got killed. So, for me, it's always the cool part about FM is like every team, no matter what their preset tactics are, obviously in the game, there's probably one way to get the best out of the squad, but it's really up to like you to figure that out. There's no one that's going to tell you. And there's so much RNG, which, for those that don't know, randomness, that just goes into all of this, that for me, it just makes FM such a unique experience no matter what angle you're coming in at it. Like Stu, a
Yeah, yeah.
professional,
See,
previous
I love the
footballer.
variety of it, honestly. Like, I like to try to coach and manage my old teams. So like
Yeah,
Houston Dynamo, Bolton, try to coach them and manage them up and work them. Bolton's down in League One now. So like it has been my goal to get Bolton back to the Premier League.
right.
I haven't been able to do it. So to your point, it's not as easy as
No.
just getting out there and you're like, oh, well, I'm playing the game. The game's going to let me win. No, you have to try to
Yeah.
be smart and creative. I do love thinking back to my roots and my initial connection with FM. You always like knew somebody played the game when somebody knew like the random player that was playing in the
Yes.
Swedish second division, and they
Yes.
like everybody had signed that guy, and he was turned him into like a global superstar. I'll
Yes.
tell you, when I first moved to England back to play, the amount of people that asked me about Freddie Adu
Yeah.
was just off the charts because so many people in the UK knew of Freddie Adu from FM, and like he was this wonder kid at 16 years old, and he was
Yeah.
good obviously in the game as well, but like so many people knew his name because of that. And unfortunately he didn't end up reaching the heights that I think everybody had projected, but like
Yeah.
he was an FM name. Like if you knew Freddie Adu, you played FM for sure.
So much about FM is just it's like a real chess game. It's so much like there's so many pieces you're moving, and it's not just as simple as like like another game where in a football simulator you're just picking it up and passing and shooting, and you're making the over the head decisions. And what I like now, especially with FM 26, the graphics, the overhaul on the graphics is like wow, compared to the last year, it's like it's a lot. I mean, I even know when I customized, I did the weird stuff where I gave my manager an eye patch and all that, and it's like you got him on the touch line next to like Arteta, and it just looks so funny. But that for me is a huge improvement in the recent one. I've really enjoyed that. And like we were talking before our call about the Wonder Kid stuff, and it's funny he mentioned like the Freddie Adu is a great example. Whenever I do a new save on stream, you're right. There is a group of like 30 guys in the chat. They're all spamming the same guy you've never heard of, because you go look at him. He costs like his wages are very low. Maybe you got to spend half a mil to go get him, but he's got the most absurd potential. And
Yeah.
it's always the what if.
I can tell you don't have kids is because you actually enjoyed the customization part of your manager.
Yeah.
Bro, I was sitting there with my 5-year-old son, and he's like, "No, no, 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 we got to do that here. Oh, no, 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 bring his chin in a little bit. No, 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 make the eyes bigger. It doesn't look like us." And I'm like, "Well, bro, you're trying to mash my body with your body to
Yeah.
create this like one manager." I mean, we must have spent 45 minutes on something that you could do in like a minute. But that's been the crazy thing for me. So, I had a break from FM. I've gotten back into playing now with my son, and it's super fun. I was blown away by the number of like features that you have
Oh
now
yeah.
around tactics and like the passing formations and different things that you want to do. I mean, like the amount of detail like blew me away, and it kind of I felt more empowered by that, in that I could really have more influence on what I could have done before. So that was pretty cool to see really the evolution of this game from where it was to where it is now.
Yeah. The amount of personal impact you can have. And I feel like a crazy person when I play FM because there's so much customization. Like when you play a FIFA career mode, or you play any of these other games, I mean, eFootball, they still have their whole, I think they have their offline thing you can go and do. But regardless, it's a lot more. You click this button, you click that button, you got 5 options or you got 15 options. On this game, when you get in there, you will see, I mean, every screen gives you like 40 options. It is nuts. And the reason I say I feel like a crazy person is I've gotten in my head now and I've decided that sometimes if you do too much on this game, you pay the price. So when I'm trying to, I do something for 15 minutes and I'm like, okay, it's not working. I start seeing the opposition's XG is going up way more than mine. I'm like, okay, I'm going to change it. But, then there's the whole part where we talked about this, the beauty of no one really knows outside of these wonder kids that they've scouted and got the stars on. No one really knows like what people know. There's things that help you more, but no one really knows the exact answers.
Yeah.
So, you could either look like a genius when you click 70 of the options, or you could miserably fail because you just never let your team really get into it.
Yeah, see, Nick, I'm going to tell you a little secret here. That is the game telling you that you're not a good coach, and stop over tweaking it. It's
Yes.
trying to help you. It's pushing back, saying, "No, man, this is not a good idea here." All right, you're over influencing, and having been a player and
Right.
seen that from some coaches, sometimes these coaches and managers are just too over the top and
Oh man.
overloading their players with details. And that's the beauty, right? I mean, that's how it mirrors the real life. There's the real life managers like Carlo Ancelotti that stand on the sideline with a cigar, and they tell the team today 4-4-2. I
Yeah, go
trust
out there and play.
Yeah, I trust you guys. Whereas then there's the coaches like Pep that it's on every single play and every little moment and trying to tweak every little thing. And that works for him, but it doesn't work with all the same personalities. And
Totally.
really, like in life and in everything that we do, you got to mesh your personality
Yes.
with those of your players. And I love that the game gives you that real life feedback in a way that is you're having to make adjustments in real time. And that, as you said, there even has been the difference for me of when I've played FIFA and FC sometimes with my son. Yeah, we can fire up a game and we can play. This
Yes.
is something we've been able to invest in a little bit together and kind of have bonded over, and humming and hawing over different decisions. And should we play 4-4-2 or 4-4-3 this weekend? Because the other team plays with a back three. And so it really forces you to think about it. But for me, I love it because it's allowed me to have a little bit of a deeper connection with my son as I try to educate him into a bit of a football brain here now.
Yes, yes, he's training them. But yeah, no, Stu made it further in the football career than I did. But what he was saying is very true. We were both playing in Division One in the United States at different schools, and I think we probably would both agree that we always played our best with an Ancelotti type of manager. You get a formation, you get an instruction, and you like the guys you play with, and you're going to be probably playing at your best. But the formation thing, that is very true, because I'll tell you, in the times that I saw on the schedule, and we're now talking back in FM, where I see a team that's got some, let's say a 5 at the back, and I'm running what I was running against the 4 back that was working, that's kind of when it does seem like maybe you could make a really smart decision and switch it up and test it out, because I've noticed that those are the times I'll suffer in this game when I'm not adapting to the formations that I'm seeing on the schedule that are different.
Yeah. It forces you to think deep, man,
Yeah.
and what's the lowest division you've ever started with in a team? Because sometimes you have these like 10-year saves and the
Yeah.
satisfaction of being with a club for that long. I think like inevitably my son, when we first joined in, he's like, I want to be Liverpool. And I was like, okay, well, we're competing in a different category here. It's a different ballpark. We can try to sign big players. We're
Yes.
pushing for Champions League. I don't think I'm ready like for his first interaction of the game to be like, hey, let's go start with a third division team. Like we got to grind a little bit on the non-league type of stuff. So like, what's the deepest you've gone? Was it Heidenheim, or have
I
you
think
gone even
Heidenheim, so it
crazier
was
than
like
that?
a relegation level Bundesliga team. And I think the reason for that, the more I'm talking to you now about it, the more I'm realizing that ultimately, for people like us, that's the best way to play FM. Like
Yeah.
8 years, you take a team in the third division, and you're getting them in Champions League ball. But I try to do content around like a 1 year save. So I kind of try to do maybe a couple transfers that are realistic. Like some people, and that's the thing with FM, you can customize any way you want to play it. But like I try to keep the transfers and the guys we're signing nothing insane. Like it would work for the club. Like
Yeah.
if, for example, with your experience with Mallorca, I'm not going to be going in and signing a 100 mil plus player, but maybe getting a player on a free, maybe scouting a wonder kid, and yeah, maybe splurging, a 15, 20 mil acquisition. But I've been trying to do that with the saves because I've been trying to offer the viewers that watch it. So I've done United, Heidenheim. I'm actually in the middle of a Nottingham Forest one right now. So that's the one I've started on
Okay.
26. And
That's
I
a
kind
great
of,
club, man.
yeah, I
Historic
try to
club.
keep it realistic. Like if the viewers of that club are watching, it's almost like he's changing the tactics, the formations, and maybe he's signing 2 or 3 players. It's not a whole squad overhaul. They're doing one season stuff. So yeah, that's kind of the way that
But
like
but
I've
but
been
I can
enjoying
tell
it.
you from an ownership perspective, that is the realism. Like if
Oh
you were
yeah.
to take over
Yeah.
Real Mallorca tomorrow, I'm telling you, man, I don't have the pockets to give you $100 million check to go get Lamine Yamal, who's going to cost way more than that.
Yes.
We have to actually try to in real life be creative. We just signed a couple players from Barcelona this year on creative type of contracts and structured deals to where we also get to benefit on the upside, but we're not able to go out there and spend 20, 25, 30 million dollars like some of the teams at the top of the table. We have to play realistically within our budget and every year try to push a little bit further and a little bit harder, try to be a little bit more creative. But again, like that is the realism of our situation. So I love that you play the game in that way because that mirrors real life, and it would be a bit of a fantasy land if it's not. And I think that's what the game gives you. It's a bit of authenticity, right? And if you create it that way.
Yeah, cool. And like the realism part, what's real about if you overachieve with one of those teams is that, yeah, you're going to get the bonus and you're going to get that next year. Like if you really did well with, I mean, what are some teams like even Palace for the way that they did at the end of last year? They made the Conference League. They won one of those trophies. I don't know. What was the exact trophy they just recently won? They
It was
just won
FA
a
Cup. Was it
Yeah,
FA
so they
Cup? Was
won
it?
the,
Yeah.
all of these are going to be very realistic for them going forward. That if they're able to keep some of these key pieces like Wharton, I know they offloaded Eze and oh my God, but let's not even talk to real life because I'm gonna fanboy over how good Olise is. Oh my God, he is
He's
such a
on
baller.
fire right now, bro. He's on
He is
fire. All
crazy.
right, let's go sign Elise on FM.
Yeah, yeah, but like for me, the realism thing is that yeah, if you did take a team like if I'm doing one of these mid-table teams, if you're able to get them into that position in 5, 6, or even 7 on FM, mainly more maybe that 4 to 6 range, you're going to be able to reap the benefits of the realism of that next season, like you're talking about. If you take that team, that stuff is realistic. That eventually, if you can keep that positioning, get the money through the Champions League and all these acquired competitions you're getting in, you're going to be able to sign some larger players. So that's the fun part for you about the realism with a team like Mallorca or something. The FM can really show you the realism that if you have that pop-off season, what can really happen from that season.
Yeah. Bro, I'm telling you, you keep dominating with the one eye patch. We're gonna have you on the sideline in Mallorca in like the next 2 years for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's you've developed a character, right? You start to live through that character, that manager, that personality that comes along with it. And that's the fun part to me is I still take so much more satisfaction than I ever thought I would of my coach, my manager, me, the manager getting offered like the bonus or the contract extension and all those like little things. It still hits, it's like that's the stuff I love.
So Stu also, to me, as a guy, he doesn't strike me as the guy that when he's getting injured or he's, on his downtime going out to clubs, he strikes me as the guy from our conversation when he was saying he's playing Counter-Strike. And that's also a time when you were playing FM, correct? When you were
100%.
traveling
Yeah.
and
Now,
doing all
look,
these things.
I'm not gonna lie to your face and say I was never out at the clubs. Okay, 21, 22-year-old Stu was out a little bit, but that is the unknown fact about me. I was a professional Counter-Strike player in high school. I taught video games when I was at college to supplement my income when I was playing D1 soccer,
Right.
like you. So I'm a gaming guy at heart. All right, so like whenever I get attached to a game, that's me. And then certainly the later I got in my career when I was rehabbing for injuries, I was sitting like on a couch for 6 months on this dang non-weight bearing machine, and I was just gaming, playing FM, like keeping my attachment to the game, man. It was my way of still working a little bit.
One other thing I wanted to mention, the funny part and the thing I like the most about FM 26 is that everything I was doing on FM 24 is not working anymore. Nothing is even working. So I used to have this tactic where I was going on positive or attacking when I was away to try to stun, right? And usually when people go on away games on FM, they are notoriously way harder because they're harder in real life too. So people will play on balance. They're a little bit more defensive. I used to go out and just try to stun teams in the first 20. That's not been working this year. So that's the fun part about always a new FM that, you have differences in how the game is playing from the previous engine. And this one was for FM 26. And this is why we both encourage you guys to check it out. It's a huge overhaul, a lot of updates with the graphics. a lot of updates with the features. There's tons of features. I've never seen so many features available in a game. You know, I stick to the stuff that I've been doing over the years where maybe one game against a five at the back team, I'll chuck a 6'6" striker that I brought in for $1 million that season and just chuck on floated crosses on a guy that has 90 crossing stat, right? So I stick to those basics, but there's a lot of different stuff you guys can do. And you know, we were just speaking, and I'll let Stu give you his take, but we were just talking about these Wonder Kid websites where you got these like almost Reddit level forums where guys are just going back and forth. I tried this guy in my save for 3 years and he was a bust. To go for this guy. So, you know, all this being in the community and existing, it's really communal, the FM community. And both of us respect so much the energy the community has about how passionate everyone is just for football in general.
Yeah, can I just say too, if you have those websites, can you drop them in the comments for me? Because I need to up my FM game. And I didn't even know about this. So I feel like it's a cheat code that I wasn't aware of or a club that I wasn't invited to. But you know, that it's kind of fun for me having lived out my dream and played in the Premier League and a World Cup and different things is I even find myself now as a football manager taking things that I have learned or loved from the coaches that I had throughout my career and the ways in which we approached away games, as you were saying, and the tactics in the first 15 minutes versus the middle 30. And it's been crazy to me how the successful coaches I've had, the stuff that I've taken from them has actually worked in the game. And I guess that's a reflection that the game matches realism, but also that these coaches were probably pretty good at what they did. And I maybe don't give the coaches enough credit because we always used to take the credit as players. And I take the credit as my football manager. So look, if you haven't tried it yet, or the new Football Manager FM26, it's a ton of fun. Nick, you talked about just all the different features you have at your disposal to really shape and match your personality and try different things and find out what works and do it over the course of the season and get crazy. You know, don't just start at the top. Come slug it in the third division with us. Work away on that 10-year save because it's the most gratifying thing that you can do. So go do it now, man. What are you waiting for?
Look at that energy, guys. You need that. You need Stu's energy. Guys, everyone watching the video, we appreciate it. We appreciate you guys spending some time with us, whether you're watching the morning, afternoon, or night. And check out Football Manager 26. It's been a pleasure seeing you guys today.
See you on the pitch.
Peace.